Welcome back. You're now watching the sports segments on the weekend show. Last week, I was flying the Nigerian colors and also praying so much for Nigeria to go far in the AFCON tournament. Our first game was a draw, which made me quite scared about the second game. Fortunately, we won, and so I'm so proud of the boys. But our correspondent, Ayo Adams, is live at the competition, and he is joining us to give us an update on AFCON 24. Hello, Ayo Adams. Good morning. We miss you in the studio. What's going on? I've been seeing you have so much fun interacting with the teams, but give us an update on the AFCON tournament so far.
Hi, Andy. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. The AFCON so far has been exciting. It's been tantalizing, and you can see that the energy that has been brought by the fans and the host country has been nothing but exceptional. So you must give kudos to them, the organization, from the governing body and the host country, accommodating people across board. It's been exciting. And when you look across board, you also look at the Nigerians who are here, the fans, the journalists, the well wishers. It's been exciting, and they're showing up. But despite that, when we at the stadium, against Cote d'Ivoire, it was a sea of orange across the board. So far, so good. It's been an exciting organization so far in the tournament, and then we've seen a lot of upsets, a couple of upsets in the tournament, and we've seen some teams who have not really, came up to the party. You have teams like Egypt, Ghana, Cameroon. Cameroon were the last host of the tournament. Egypt were finalists. And Ghana, who have been shining stars, they've not really come up to the party in the tournament. So it's not a competition that one can predict at the moment, because even teams that you're not expecting to really show up are now giving it their best, and that's what the AFCON is all about. It's unpredictable. It's a competition that houses a lot of firepower, houses a lot of strength and tenacity, and it can go either way for any country. So it's just like we mentioned last week in the studio, you snooze, you lose. You're having a team such as Cape Verde being the first team to qualify into the knockout stages, having Emilio Insui of Equatorial Guinea becoming the first player to score the hat-trick in the tournament. It's been an exciting masterpiece here in Cote d'Ivoire.
So besides Cape Verde, Ayo, which other underdog has surprised you so far in this tournament?
I think we'll look at Equatorial Guinea. They are also a team.
Oh yeah.
In this tournament, you look at also teams like Zambia, Namibia, and holding their own in the tournament. They might not have won, but they have also held their own, either pulling out a draw, or look at Mozambique, who held Egypt to a 2-2 draw. It's been spectacular so far in the tournament. So some of these teams, like I mentioned, it's the competition that if you look down on anybody, you will be kicked out.
Let's talk about our neighbors, Ghana. What's going on with Ghana in this tournament so far?
I think they can cry tears. We love their tears. But it's really I don't know how to put it. They do have the required amount of talent. The Ayus are there. Their biggest, brightest star across the world is also there, Mohamed Kudus, who got 2 goals against Egypt in their last game, their second round game. But you're just looking at them. The Black Stars of Ghana are not showing up like they usually do. And this is not the first time that they are really being watered down in the AFCON. At the last AFCON, they didn't even make it out of the group stages. But now you have them. But now look at them here again, all about to be eliminated from the group stages, and now their exit is heavily dependent on someone else's result, and that's not the situation you want to be in the tournament. I wouldn't say I wish for them to qualify, but all I'm going to say is that they better wake up, because their fans, just like us, too, are very, very intense, and they can be very emotional when they don't win. So the Black Stars of Ghana, I hope that they can find a way to. I hope that the coach Chris Houghton can find a way to merge his team together, get them back into shape, and they should need to understand the magnitude of the next game. They must win their next game. They lost their first game, they drew the second, so they have a single point, and then next game, and then winning their next game also doesn't guarantee the fact that they're going to qualify, because they are heavily dependent on other opponents.
Let's talk about attendance in this tournament. I saw the first game, Nigeria, and the stadium looked empty. However, the match against Cote d'Ivoire, it was filled with orange, and we pulled a miracle. So before we talk about the Super Eagles, talk to me, how is the attendance looking so far as it's building up now?
So first thing you won't need to know is when you come to a tournament like this, you have stadiums that are far apart from each other. So there are stadiums from where we are staying in Abidjan. which is the base where the Super Eagles play most of their games. It's at least an hour away from the stadium, 1 or 2 hours away from the stadium. So the first thing that does happen is we convey ourselves to the media center, and then there's a bus that transports us down to the stadiums. But there are also other stadiums that are like 5 hours, 6 hours away, and to and fro means 10 hours, depending on the on the distance. So that's one of the reasons why, in terms of conveying fans to the stadium, because of the distance. That's one. And secondly, also, you also have to look at the fact that people are looking to support their teams. And the economy across the world and Africa at large is also not that great for people to, storm into the matches. The reason there was a sea of orange at the Stade Olympique was because it's the hosts. And, and it was a public holiday also here in Ivory Coast. So, they came out all glamorous. They came out all colorful. Just like the same way we also came out against Ghana in our World Cup qualifiers, and the stadium was filled to the brim. So same thing happened here too. So at the game against Cote d'Ivoire, it was over 49,000 fans, and I'm more than certain, I can say as a matter of fact, because I was on ground, as Nigerians, they were never up to 2,000. So that's one of the reasons. But I mean, the big games do get a large number of crowds. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Super Eagles. Last week in the studio, I expressed my fear with our goalkeeping team. So let's start with them. I also saw an interview which you posted. You've made me glued on Instagram now. I saw an interview where you posted where a reporter asked the same question which I asked. What's your analysis so far? Let's start with goalkeeping.
Honestly, I will say it has restored a lot of confidence in all of us as Nigerians and fans, even all of us that I'm sure back home to, a lot of people have Francis Ozor, not to take anything away from him, he's not been that bad, but he has not been great. And because of the track record we have in the goalkeeping department, you look at the likes of Vincent Iyama, who made a statement timeline in his bid in the industry with the Super Eagles. So he had already given us that phase that we can't have a big goalkeeper. But when Francis Ozor stepped in, it was below par. It was one of the reasons we couldn't make it to the World Cup, and subsequently before the Cup of Nations, it was also not really great. So it was a really, really big deal it was a big decision for the coach to drop him, a goalkeeper you've been using for a while now, and you drop him and pick a goalkeeper that has not, kept in a major competition for the Super Eagles, and that was a great decision. And he was spectacular. Nwabali was nothing but spectacular in that game against Ivory Coast. There was that from the very first game, a couple of us have been able to see his confidence, being able to hold his own against the team, even though he considered in the first game it was totally not his fault. But against Cote d'Ivoire, he showed that he was a really good goalkeeper and he has a bright future ahead of him. And I'm sorry to say this, Francis Ozor might never step into that number one shirt again if Nwabali continues like this. He's almost cemented himself as the number one for a long time.
As long as we go far, I'm in with it. Let's talk about our backline. Our defense got a lot of credit in our last match. The two young men, and I'll let you speak about that. Our defense. Talk about that.
In recent times, Nigeria has always been looking like a team that's been leaky. And these players are playing some of the top clubs. We have Calvin Bassey, who plays for Fulham. Olajuwon plays for Nottingham Forest. Trust Ekong, the captain, plays in Italian Serie A. Shemi Ajayi plays in the second division of the Premier League. So Zaidi Sanusi plays for FC Porto. So you look at these guys, they play for some of the top clubs in the world, and you wonder when they come home, they don't represent. But also in the first game, they looked a bit shaky. But while we were at their training session before the Ivory Coast game, you could see that they were really taken a beat by their performance from the first game. So it was something that they needed to look forward to. They knew that Nigerians were not happy, and they really put up a brilliant performance. All of them showed up. We held our own from the 55th minute that the goal went into the end of the game in a stadium with over 47,000 Ivorian fans. That is something that's commendable for the coach, for the team. And when we saw the lineup, there were already rumors that Jose Pizarro, the coach, was going to tweak the lineup to a 3-4-3 formation. And in a 3-4-3 formation, when they fall back to defense, you see them in a 5 setup in the defense, so which makes it much more compact. And then overall, across the game, they were just solid. His substitutions were also excellent. Bringing in Kenneth Omeru, Bright Osayi, they came in to also come and cement the defense for the team. Trust Ekong was such a leader. He was probably my best defender on the day. But he's so hard to play because they all performed. Olajuwon on the right flank played beautifully well. He held his own. Calvin Bassey, the mantra "no grief for anybody" was basically what they showed to us on screen and in the stadium. They were solid, and I think if they continue with this energy, if they continue with this mindset that nothing will get past them. And your goalkeeping, as a team, you're as good as the goalkeeper behind you. So I think the goalkeeper also helped in instilling much more confidence. For them, they felt like, look, we will defend, we will cover you because we know that if we make a mistake, you will cover us back. Two of the defenders made mistakes. Zaidu Sanusi made a mistake in the first half. Shemia Ajayi made another one in the second half, and Nwabali covered them properly, and they also did the same for him too. So I think for the defense, if he continues like this, we have a shot. But the defense has been nothing but excellent so far.
Now, my biggest problem with the Nigerian team over the last 8 to 10 years has been finishing. I still see a problem with finishing with this team. What's going on, Ayo?
You're spot on, Andy. And what's going on is the fact that first thing is we have the biggest attacker in the world, in Africa and the world, named Victor Osimhen. And so far, so good. He's got 1 goal, but he could have easily had 4 goals. He could have easily been the top scorer of this tournament in 2 games. Against Equatorial Guinea, he blew two big chances. Against Cote d'Ivoire, he blew a big chance in the opening minutes of the game, in opening minutes, 5 minutes of the game. He was the one who stood caught the penalties. But just like you're saying, same thing that a couple of fans and we here are also alluding to the fact that we are creating chances, but we're not scoring goals. Against Ivory Coast, we had 16 chance attempts, and we could only score a goal. And we didn't score the goal from open play, we scored the goal from the spot. So that shows that we need to convert more. A lot of us have been screaming, should we wear our shooting boots and come and take these guys out to shoot? But no, so, they are not converting this chance. And this might be an issue moving forward if it is not treated. Now, the coach has been able to find a way to cement the defense. The midfield looks a little bit much more solid because the likes of Frank Onyeka, the likes of Alex Iwobi, they also stepped up their game in the middle of the park. Up front, so they look more compact, they look more expressive, but they need to score goals, and that's the most important thing because if we want to make it into the next round, we will have to beat Guinea. Once we're able to beat Guinea-Bissau, we'll make it into the next round with 7 points as stable leaders, and then we'll play probably the best losers from Group C, D, and E. And once you get into knockout stages, you snooze, you lose. There's nobody waiting for you to think that there's another game for you to be able to redeem yourself. No, you snooze, you lose. So we must be able to convert those chances, and it rests highly on the shoulders of Victor Osimhen. He's the biggest striker in the world. He needs to come up for us. That's what we need him for. You look at Ismaila Sarr for Senegal, he's already doing magic for the team. You take a look at Mohamed Kudus has already put 2 goals in the back of the net. Emilio Insui of Equatorial Guinea already has 3 goals on the log. So I'm sure that Victor Osimhen will want to raise his golden boots for the AFCON Cup of Nations because it will also further cement his accolade that he received late last year as the CAF best player in Africa.
Thank you so much, Ayo. Final question, broken into 2 parts. What is your analysis of the role VAR has played so far during this tournament? And finally, what's your prediction for our next match?
If there's one thing I've been exceptionally crazy about is the VAR. They've been 100% spot on. I'd say this out loud. Let the Premier Leagues and the La Ligas and the Italian Serie A's come and look at the AFCON and take inference from it on how VAR is supposed to operate. Because from the last AFCON, there were a lot of talks about the refereeing days. There was a famous referee who stopped the game before the game ended, and so on and so on. A lot of controversies, but you must give it to the governing body, and you must give it to the referee association of CAF also being able to select really, really great referees, not just the great referees, the referees in the back room, being able to spot. There was Equatorial Guinea and the Guinea-Bissau game. There was a penalty that all of us in the media room in the stadium, we thought it was a penalty. Then the VAR looked at it and called it back. And when we saw the angle, we all looked like, oh, this is not a penalty. They've been 100% spot on. I hope they keep it to the end of the tournament. There is nothing more exceptional in a tournament than having great officiating because that is the work you're there to do. You're not supposed to cause controversies. You're supposed to make sure that the game is being properly officiated.
What are your predictions?
In terms of predictions, we need to win. I just think we need to win with a high goal margin. We need to win, and with the spirit that we came with against Ivory Coast, if we come up with that same spirit, convert our chances, there's nothing stopping us from taking a 2-3 goal lead because Guinea-Bissau, they have already exited the tournament. They lost their first 2 games, lost their game 2-0 to the host Ivory Coast, lost to Equatorial Guinea in a thrashing. So why shouldn't Super Eagles have a party to and cook them like every other person has done? So that's our best bet. We need to win that game with a high goal margin so we have high spirit into the next round and be able to see how far we can get.
Thank you so much, Ayad. I'm looking forward to our next match and us getting into the next stage. Ayo will be joining us again next week to give us an update on the AFCON tournament. Make sure you have fun. Keep having fun, Ayo, and thank you for joining us.